The name of Melchizedek, the king of Salem, is shrouded in mystery, as no other king's name with the possible exception of King Arthur. 3 times he is mentioned in the Bible, and each time the mystery deepens. Now a well-known Israeli archaeologist suggests that he has made an archaeological discovery connected to the mystery king. Let's dive in to get to know more about Melchizedek and his time. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get more updates on exciting archaeological news connected to the Bible. One of the archaeologists who has been most active in the last few decades in digs in and near the city of David, which is the heart of Jerusalem, is Eli Shukran. He made a stunning discovery that he dates to the time of Abraham and Melchizedek. One of his remarkable findings included a substantial pool linked to the Gihon Spring, situated just to its south, along with the spring's enclosing structure. Notably, in 2010, an unconventional edifice was unearthed above the pool and its enclosure, featuring the following distinctive attributes: an eastern entrance staircase leading to a level rock-hewn surface, encompassing 4 parallel chambers. The entrance staircase and the rock-hewn chambers clearly were part of one unified architectural entity. Shukran's research led him to conclude that this was a temple used by Melchizedek. The first room from the left contains a grain press with strange carved markings on the floor. They probably had racks for the skinning of the animals for sacrifice. But the next room is the most important one of the temple. It has a matzava. A matzava, plural matzavot, is a Hebrew word that means stone or pillar. It's usually a standing stone or pillar connected to ancient religious or commemorative customs. In ancient times, matzavot were commonly used as markers, monuments, or altars to signify significant events, religious sites, or burial places. They were often erected as a way to commemorate a covenant, a significant encounter, or an important individual. In the context of the biblical narrative, matzavot are mentioned as stones set up to commemorate events or encounters with God. For example, in the story of Jacob in the book of Genesis, he sets up a matzava as a memorial after his dream at Bethel. The term matzava is deeply embedded in ancient Hebrew culture and is of great religious and historical significance, often symbolizing a connection between the earthly and the divine. So, the matzava singles this structure out as a temple. The matzava in this case was crafted from a slender rock slab, measuring a mere 5 centimeters in width, standing at a height of 55 centimeters and extending 85 centimeters in length. Remarkably plain and devoid of any imagery, this unassuming rock slab was meticulously positioned atop an exposed, hewn stone, firmly held in place by robust supporting rocks strategically arranged beneath it and around its periphery. This was the center of the temple. While in other countries gods were being worshipped using idols and gold, in Jerusalem a simple stone functioned as the focal point of contact with the divine. No signs of idolatry here, which is in line with what is known about Melchizedek, who is a priest of the Most High God. In the next room to the matzava room, a slightly elevated hewn square was revealed, accompanied by a small drainage ditch. The elevation of 145 by 100 centimeters suggested an altar had been there. The presence of the drainage ditch confirms this hypothesis, as it could have been used to drain the blood of sacrificed animals. In another room, a small hewn olive press was discovered, likely designated for the production of specialized sacred oil used in the central rituals of the matzava temple. The oil press's dimensions were 220 by 155 centimeters, clearly indicating a limited oil production capacity suitable for temple worship. Adjacent to the olive press, a storage facility was uncovered. The floor of this chamber was strewn with numerous fragments of shattered jars. Potsherds definitely dated to the 18th century BC were uncovered, bringing the origin of this temple all the way back to the era of Abraham and Melchizedek. The temple is so well preserved for 2 reasons. It is immediately on top of the bedrock, so there is no older construction beneath it to confuse the archaeologists. and it was closed off in the time of King Hezekiah, who ordered all worship to take place in Solomon's temple. Eli Shukran is convinced that this must be the temple of Melchizedek. It is located in the right place, it's from the right period, it has no evidence of idolatry, but on the contrary, has a stone that is seen as a symbol of the divine. This reminds us of the story of Jacob. After he had a dream in the open field, the Bible says, so early in the morning, Jacob took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up for a pillar and poured oil on top of it. It's not even impossible that the habit of pouring oil on a stone came to Jacob through Melchizedek, who had an olive press near the Matzevah in his temple. Solomon's temple is known as the first temple, but the temple in this video probably already was a temple for El Elyon, the Most High God, as he is called in the story of Melchizedek. That would mean that 1,000 years before the Temple of Solomon, a temple for God was present in Jerusalem. Therefore, Eli Shukran has named this temple Temple Zero. If the interpretation of Eli Shukran is correct, an important part of the puzzle of Melchizedek has been solved. How was he a priest of the Most High God? The answer may be found in Temple Zero, where Melchizedek may have sacrificed some of the animals Abraham gave him as a tithe from his spoils of war. How do these archaeological findings square with the text of the Bible? The enigmatic figure of Melchizedek appears in the book of Genesis and is briefly referenced in the Psalms and in the New Testament in Hebrews 7. He was the king of Salem and a priest of the Most High God. What makes Melchizedek mysterious is the scarcity of information about him and the cryptic nature of his existence. Melchizedek appears in the Bible in the book of Genesis chapter 14. During Abraham's time, there was a conflict among regional kings. Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and 3 other kings waged war against several other kings, including the king of Sodom. After a battle, Chedorlaomer and the allied kings sacked Sodom and Gomorrah, taking captives and plundering the cities. Among the captives was Lot, Abraham's nephew. When Abraham learned of Lot's capture, he gathered a small army from his household and pursued the captors. During his pursuit, Abraham defeated Chedorlaomer's forces, rescuing Lot and the other captives. On his return from this victory, he was met by Melchizedek, the king of Salem, who was also a priest of the Most High God. Melchizedek brought out bread and wine and blessed Abraham. Abraham, in turn, gave Melchizedek 1/10 of everything he had acquired from the battle. His sudden introduction in the biblical narrative raises questions. Unlike other prominent figures, there is no genealogy or background provided, leaving his origins and lineage shrouded in uncertainty. This absence of ancestry amplifies the aura of mystery surrounding him. Melchizedek is presented as a priest king, a combination unusual in ancient times. In traditional societies, priests and kings held distinct roles, but Melchizedek embodies both, adding an intriguing layer to his character. His role as a priest of the Most High God before the existence of Israel and the establishment of the Levitical priesthood creates theological puzzles and speculations. Melchizedek's encounter with Abraham, a foundational figure in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, adds to the mystery. He blessed Abraham and received tithes from him, signifying a superior spiritual position. The biblical account suggests Melchizedek's greatness surpassing even that of Abraham, a concept explored in the book of Hebrews in the New Testament. The lack of historical and archaeological evidence outside the biblical text leaves historians and scholars with little to corroborate Melchizedek's existence and context. His name itself, meaning King of Righteousness in Hebrew, adds an element of symbolism to his enigmatic persona. In religious and philosophical interpretations, Melchizedek often represents a prefiguration of Christ, the Messiah, due to his dual role as a king and priest and the lack of recorded death or genealogy. This enhances the mystery, making him a symbol of divine order and an enduring theological puzzle. The story of Abraham and Melchizedek happened about 4,000 years ago. That's one more reason why it is difficult to be certain about the context, because there are so few sources. But though some scholars dispute it, there is little doubt that Melchizedek's Salem was the earliest settlement of Jerusalem. Salem means peace, and the earliest housing found in Jerusalem did not have a city wall, which was a good fit for the city with the name Peace. The longer name Jerusalem means City of Peace, and therefore, despite its bloody history, has been connected with the idea of peace for over 4,000 years. Psalm 76:2 refers to Jerusalem using the name Salem. His tent is in Salem, his dwelling place in Zion. This verse establishes a historical and biblical connection, suggesting that Salem is an early name for Jerusalem. One more reason to be confident that Melchizedek was from Jerusalem is Abraham's route back from the war. After rescuing his nephew Lot and defeating the kings, Genesis 14:17 says, after his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is, the King's Valley. When considering this route, it's notable that the valley of Shaveh, where Abraham encountered the king of Sodom, is traditionally associated with the Kidron Valley near Jerusalem. This geographical proximity supports the identification of Salem, where Melchizedek was king and priest with early Jerusalem. And now, the earliest Jerusalem temple has been found. It very well might be the Temple of Melchizedek, for the first time ever linking an archaeological find to this mysterious priest-king.